Ford High School Weekly is brought to you by your Oklahoma Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Oklahoma.
Welcome to Ford High School Weekly. I'm your host, Deanna Mate. At Choctaw, they have something called the gold standard, and Peyton Hand has definitely met that standard. She's the first four-time state champion in girls wrestling, and she's here on Ford High School Weekly to talk with us. Peyton, how's it going?
It's going great.
So, congratulations on the state championship and on all the good stuff. I'm sure you're hearing it quite a bit, but again, congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. So, before we get to wrestling and talking about things that are going on the mat, do you mind if we let the viewers get to know you personally a little bit?
Not at all.
All right. So I like to start off these questions with mainly food. Okay. So I'm a big eater. I love to cook and grub out. But when you're training and getting ready, what are some of your favorite things to eat?
So when I'm training and getting ready, I'm a big fruit eater. I love to eat fruit. That's kind of one of my favorite things to eat. And then I kind of stick to proteins. Like I like to eat grilled chicken a lot. That's kind of what I'll go to, but it's a whole different story. Whenever, after weigh-ins and everything like that, I'll chow down on some, less than healthy items.
All right, don't hold back now. So when you're not training and you're not, trying to stay in your weight, what are the type of foods that's your favorite? Like if you're not on a diet and you're not being disciplined, what's your favorite food?
I will always be an Italian food fan. Like pasta, pizza, anything, throw it at me and I'll eat it.
Right.
Those are my absolute favorites. So,
what toppings we putting on that pizza?
I like Hawaiian a lot, and you can never go wrong with cheese. You just can't. So,
never go wrong with the good old fashioned cheese pizza.
Exactly.
Like it. All right. Other than wrestling, what kind of sports are you into?
Well, honestly, like wrestling is what I've done my entire life. I played soccer for 1 year when I was like 6 years old, and after that, literally wrestling has been my life.
All right. So when you're just hanging out and chilling with your family and your friends, what are some of the things that you do on your free time?
I like to go shopping with my friends. We go just hang out at each other's houses, just watch movies, just do fun stuff. I like to, go out to eat with my friends and family. That's something that I really enjoy doing. And yeah, I just like hanging out. Like it doesn't really have to be anything specific, but just hanging out and having a good time. I'll never turn that down.
All right, I heard the word shopping in there. Yeah, I'm a little bit of a sneakerhead myself. So, what are some of your favorite stores to go shop at, and what are you particularly looking for when you're out and about shopping?
Whenever I'm like with my friends, like we'll go to American Eagle, Tilly's, like just the, the usual spots. But then I'll never not stop in Foot Locker, Champs, all those stores too, because who doesn't want to go look at some nice shoes? So.
All right, what shoes you buying? If you say I give you $500 in your back pocket right now, what are you buying at the Foot Locker?
Oh, there's some Dunks that I've had my eye on for a couple weeks for signing day, so I'll probably be, buying those soon.
What's the color wave?
Goldenrod. They're black and yellow, so.
Oh yeah, I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it because school colors.
Yeah.
Right on. All right, so we are student athletes, so student that comes before athlete. So I got to ask this. I mean, what's your favorite subjects in school?
I've always been a history and English type of kid. Like I've always enjoyed history, like since the 5th grade. Like before I was even in high school, history was always my favorite subject. But like around sophomore year and everything, like I really started enjoying English too.
So is there any teacher right now that's the one that's kind of in the lead as your favorite class to go to when you're at Choctaw High School?
Right now I'm only taking like one actual class at Choctaw High School, but like my sophomore year in English, like there was one teacher, Miss Hanson, like she totally changed everything for me, like with the subject, and I couldn't be more grateful for her.
So shout out to Miss Hanson for doing the good work over there at Choctaw High School.
Exactly.
Well, when we come back, we'll talk to Peyton Hand about the mat. That's right, wrestling here in the state of Oklahoma. We'll be right back here on Ford High School Weekly. Welcome back to Forward High School Weekly. We're talking to Choctaw High School's own Peyton Hand. Now, Peyton, we all know, I mean, the championships are amazing, but it all starts from somewhere. So how did you originally get involved in wrestling?
So I think a lot of other girls probably have like similar stories to me. Um, I got into it watching my brother. Like I was always a super competitive kid. Like it was always about winning for me whenever I was younger. And then I would watch my brother, and I would get frustrated when he lost, and it was just a whole thing. And so eventually, like I asked my parents if I could start, and then I went to a couple camps here and there before the next season had started. And next thing I knew, I was just diving into the sport.
So what age were you?
I was like almost 8 or 8 years old. Like I was barely 8 years old whenever I started.
So how was it when you first originally started? I know you said you were competitive. You watched your brother out there, and it kind of seems like there was a little bit of frustration, a little bit of competitive when he would
Yeah.
lose. So when you first got on the mat, was there any losing happening, or were you kind of dominant from the very beginning?
Oh, there was definitely a lot of losing happening. There wasn't a girls division until my fourth or fifth year of wrestling, so I was stuck wrestling boys even when I was younger. But I do think that helped me, like moving on into the sport once that did grow. But yeah, I definitely did not start off winning.
Oh, so wait, so what? How old was the girls division actually started for you? So when you were like 12 years old?
Yeah, I was like 12, 13-ish whenever girls divisions started popping up in Oklahoma.
So that first 4 years of wrestling for you, was it kind of, unusual? Were you used to wrestling boys because you had a brother, or did how did your competitors actually treat it?
I mean, like I grew up around the boys I was wrestling a lot of the time, so like it wasn't weird or anything like that for me. And also I was young, so like it wasn't weird or anything. Um, but like I did like notice a shift for sure. Like once I was hitting that 12, 13 mark, like it just got so much harder to beat them. And then the girls division came, and I think wrestling those boys definitely helped me once the girls division started forming.
When you were wrestling those boys, were there any, parents or, any of the boys that had a problem with it?
Oh, like there was definitely like the angry fathers and everything who would like scream at their kid whenever like they lost to me or something like that. Or it would be before my match, they'd be like, "You better beat her. You're not about to lose to a girl," or anything like that. But it's in the past. It's whatever. So,
Do you remember how you dealt with those kind of issues?
I mean, sometimes I would use it like as motivation, be like, "Oh, this dad thinks that like their son needs to beat me in order to like be happy for them or anything like that." And sometimes I would just use it as motivation to win, just so that I can kind of rub it in their face, I guess.
Hey, it's always fun when you get to rub it in somebody's face.
Yeah.
So when you actually did start wrestling with the girls, was like I know you said it helped you a lot, but did it kind of seem unusual to be wrestling against girls?
No, I think it was honestly something I was grateful to see. Like being the only girl, like it definitely had its moments where it was like, oh, okay, this kind of sucks. Like I would kind of be struggling to find a partner, like in a practice room, because nobody wanted to go with a girl, and just stuff like that. So like seeing more and more girls show up, it like just showed how much the sport was growing. So I was happy to see that.
During those times, did you ever get discouraged as far as continuing to wrestle?
I don't think there was any times that like I genuinely like wanted to just be done. But there were times whenever I was like, oh man, I really hate this, and just times like that. But I always got over it. And then like I would do well at a tournament, and then next thing I know, I wasn't even thinking about it again. So it just kind of had its highs and lows, as every sport does.
So what were the highlights of your kind of, youth career before you got to the high school level?
So my third year of wrestling, I won boys novice state. And that was quite the experience. I mean, looking back at it now, I'm like, okay, that whenever I was younger, I thought it was like this huge accomplishment. It wasn't as huge as I had shaped it up to be, but back then I thought it was like the biggest accomplishment of all time. Um, I won girls state a couple times whenever that came around. Um, I won Tulsa Nationals and got an outstanding wrestler at that. And that's what really like capped off my youth career as I was going into high school.
So at that early of an age, I mean, you're winning, you're having success. What did wrestling give to you as far as, outside of off the mat and how you felt about yourself? Like what did the sport kind of give to you?
I think it really gave me like confidence that I could basically survive anything. Like going through those tough practices, getting beat on by boys, it's like this, it doesn't get much worse than this. Like if I can get through this, I can get through just about anything. And the relationships that I've formed with other people, whether that be coaches, parents of other wrestlers, other girls, like those are relationships that I'll have for a lifetime. And I couldn't be more grateful for those either.
Well, I'm pretty sure they were grateful to have you on the mat with them as well.
So yeah, like it's a great community, and I could not be more grateful for all of them.
When we come back, we'll talk more with Peyton Hand about wrestling at Choctaw High School and so much more. We'll be back here on Ford High School Weekly. Welcome back to Ford High School Weekly. We're talking to Peyton Hand, the 4-time state champion in the state of Oklahoma for girls wrestling. Now, Peyton, like I said, 4 times, man. That's got to be an incredible feeling. And I guess we can kind of work our way up to your senior year and this past recent championship. But how did it all start for you in your high school career? I mean, what was it like wrestling at high school and getting that first state championship?
So my first state championship, I wrestled at 100 pounds. It was pretty small. It was called like a pilot year. And it was the year before the sport was officially sanctioned in the state of Oklahoma. And so we just walked into state. There was no regional or anything like that. And I wrestled 2 or 3 matches, and in the finals I actually wrestled a girl that I've grown up my entire wrestling career with. She's one of the few that I grew up in the sport with before there was girls divisions. We were wrestling each other at boys tournaments and all that stuff. So my freshman year was definitely an interesting year, and it's crazy how much the sport grew after that. Like there was exponential growth after that year.
What was it like to win your second state championship, like kind of as a sophomore?
My second state championship was my toughest one, I'd say. I think I won that one like 7-3 or 7-4. It was against a senior and also someone that I had known like for a very long time prior to wrestling her in the finals. And that one was a big win. So that one made me really happy as well.
So if the second was the toughest, then what was the third?
The third, again, someone I had known. It kind of has like this trend, kind of like people that I had known like for a while before the state tournament, like even came around through like Little League and like national teams, stuff like that. That one I won by fall in a minute and a half.
Again, I'm seeing a trend here. It seems like all the individuals that you're wrestling in these finals and for these state champions, like, is there anybody that you're facing kind of consecutively, or is it all like new competitors in these finals that you're going against?
So actually, the girl that I did wrestle this year, she's only a sophomore, and I don't know if this is totally right, but I don't think she's been wrestling for long either, and she's actually come a really long way. Last year I wrestled her in the first round at state, and I attacked her like 16 or 17-0, and this year she made it to the state finals. So she's someone that I've kind of watched, and she's progressed like a lot.
So the only constant on that mat in state championships is you, and you're facing different competitors every time, huh?
Yeah.
So you mentioned a couple of times that you're wrestling individuals that you've wrestled for a long time and girls that you've grown up with in the sport. How is the community, in wrestling, especially for girls wrestling? Are you guys kind of tight knit, or is it a little bit of a bond? Like what's it like for you guys?
I think there definitely is a bond, like especially like with some of these girls that don't have full lineups and they kind of have to branch out a little bit to get partners at different places. Um, but I wouldn't say that we're not like a tight knit community or anything. I think we do come together and we like to work hard.
Well, you guys definitely do work hard, man. Some of the stuff that y'all do, I could definitely not handle. When we come back, we'll talk to Peyton Hand about winning 4 state championships. That's right, 4 of them things. We'll be right back here on Ford High School Weekly.
There it is. The first ever Peyton Hand makes history. The first girl 4-time state champion in Oklahoma. Congratulations, Peyton Hand.
Oh, it feels amazing. I've worked my entire life for this since I was 8 years old. I went to wrestling with boys, people who didn't think I belonged there. Literally, like, everyone in the house had the people supporting me that just counted all that, and I wouldn't want it any other way.
Welcome back to Ford High School Weekly. We're talking to Peyton Hand, the one, the only 4-time state championship for girls, is with us here on Ford High School Weekly. Now, Peyton, 4 championships. You win 3. Freshman, sophomore, junior year, your senior year comes around, and I gotta imagine there had to be a little bit of pressure to kind of get that 4th one and kind of complete the whole cycle. How was it this year, especially starting off?
Oh, it was definitely pressure. I mean, great for motivation. It was basically what my coaches used the entire year to motivate me to keep working, keep pushing, keep working harder. But it was a bit overwhelming at times. Like, I'd be having a conversation with someone and be like, "Oh, how are you feeling? 4-time state champion." Like, it kind of just was like a constant topic of conversation. So it did stress me out a little bit, but it was all worth it in the end.
I mean, winning 3 state championships, you would think people would think you're coaching yourself at that point. But who are some of the coaches that had a big part in your streak and some of these championships that you've won?
I mean, I've had many coaches over the years, but one that did remain constant was Vinny Coleman. He's been my high school coach, and he coached me even in Little League when I was with Iron Man, like a little club. So, yeah, without him, I probably would not be the same wrestler that I am.
4-time state champion in Oklahoma.
So about 40-something boys have won 4 state championships in boys wrestling, but you're the very first to win it in girls wrestling.
Yeah.
Was that, a motivation that your coach continued to bring up during the year, or did you kind of not try to think about it and just try to take it a match at a time?
I think like there's balance in that. Like, you don't want to ever overlook someone or think too far ahead, like for a competition. Like, so we did all, like me and Coach Coleman, like we always did kind of like make sure to take it one match at a time. But also using that motivation to propel me further into the sport. It was definitely a method that he used.
Is that something that is like hard to learn, hard to pick up, or is it like kind of only the best can do those sort of things?
I think having that mentality is definitely an important thing, just to not overthink and get too stressed out in those tough situations, because that can definitely be a make or break.
During that match for the 4th state championship, I mean, I've seen that it went a little viral. There's been a lot of people who've witnessed the clip of you, winning your 4th state championship. What was the moment in that whole ordeal that kind of helped you realize this is it? This is for everything. This is for all the marbles. And what helped you propel and get that W?
Going into the match, I was like, I can't even breathe. Like, I was nervous, like anyone normally is before their state finals match, I'm sure. But again, like I just had to trust in my coaches and the training that I've put in all of these years that it would do me well in this final moment.
Well, it definitely did you well. I mean, as you can see at the end of the video, man, it was joyous in that arena, and you showed so much emotions. What was going through you at that moment, and what were you realizing?
Basically that it wasn't all for nothing. I mean, winning 3 state titles, like that's an amazing feat in itself. But I wasn't going to settle for anything less than 4. So just knowing that I had done it was just honestly a weight lifted off my shoulders.
I recently got an opportunity to talk to Hardale Moore, Oklahoma State legend, and a guy who coaches around the state about wrestling and getting taught up about it a little bit. And he mentioned the sacrifices you guys have to make to kind of play this, wrestle at this level. What kind of sacrifices do you have to make?
I mean, like, the amount of times that I've had to turn down a friend to hang out, like, I have these practices that, like, I have a certain schedule that I need to stick to, that I want to stick to in order to accomplish my end of the season goals. And I think it's also important, like, sacrificing having certain friends that don't understand that, and just knowing you have people around you that support that lifestyle, and just being able to see through the season.
Well, you've done a good job of that in the high school career, but the next question is just that. What's next for you, Peyton?
So I have recently committed to Ottawa University in Kansas. I plan to wrestle there all my 4 years, and I'm going to be wrestling freestyle because that's what girls wrestle at the college level, and I'm just excited to see what I do moving forward.
Well, Peyton, you've done a great job of it in high school, and I anticipate you doing a great job of it in college as well. For, one more time, I guess you've been hearing this a lot, but again, congratulations on
Thank
the
you.
4 state championships. It's a remarkable feat, and I hope everybody over there at Choctaw is proud of you.
Thank you so much.
Remember, guys, only the best in Oklahoma make it to Ford High School Weekly, like 4-time state champion Peyton Hand. So, until next time, thank you for watching, and I'm Deanna Mate.
Ford High School Weekly has been brought to you by your Oklahoma Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Oklahoma.